Alright guys, so in this video, we'll be looking at the part 2 of the conversion of units. If you recall, we did the part 1 before, whereby we converted things like centimeter to meter, meter back to centimeter, we did meter to kilometer, and so on. But in this particular video, it would be in square form. What I mean by that is this. Instead of having centimeter to meter, we'll be converting centimeter square to meter square back to centimeter square. For most people, the one that contains square is more challenging for whatever reasons, and I think it's so bamboozling for some people, or rather most people. Well, in this video, as always, I've come to help you demystify every forms of enigma you may be having as regards this particular kind of conversion. Now, our very first conversion this morning will be converting from centimeter square to meter square. For most of you, you can easily convert from centimeter to meter, but when it comes to including the square, it becomes a big conundrum to you. But do not worry, because as always, I'll give you a step-by-step approach and make it easy for you to comprehend. Now, when you talk about centimeter square, you're basically talking about centimeter in two places. And when you talk about meter square, talking about meter in two places. So it means whatever value we're having, we're going to square that value and have that value in a double portion. Now, here's what I mean. To convert centimeter square to meter square, we have to divide the value in centimeter square by 100 times 100, which is 10,000. Now, let me explain something important to you. If you recall, to convert from centimeter to meter, we only had to divide by 100. That is only one of the hundreds. Here we're dealing with square. Since we're dealing with square, it will involve a second hundred. So it means we are doing 100 two times. That is how it is done. Now, let me advance. Let's say we want to convert, let me think of a random value right now. We want to convert, because meter of course is bigger than centimeter. So we want to convert, let's say 50 centimeter square to meter square, or let me use a larger value. Let's say I want to convert 500 centimeter square, 500 centimeter square to meter square. How are we going to do this? Like, what exactly is the approach? That is what you're going to ask yourself. It's very easy. Since you're going from centimeter square to meter square, you simply have to take that value you have in centimeter square, which is 500. Then you're going to divide that value by 10,000. Why? Because 100 times 100 gives you 10,000. So when you do that, if you do that on your calculator, well, I taught you how you can do that, but for those of you who are having issues calculating, it may not be easy for you to understand. So 500 over 10,000, that is 0.05. So if you're wondering how you can do that without a calculator, which I even recommend because it makes you smarter, you just have to count the number of zeros you have here, 10,000 here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So since you're dividing, you're going to move backwards. So here, since 500 has no decimal, we have an imaginary decimal here. And you're going to move it 4 places backward. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. 3 has created 1 0 here. If you move it 1 more, we'll create 1 more 0. That's 4. How that will go to 0.05. And you're going to discard this other 0. So your answer becomes 0.05. Now, let's move on really quick to the next guy right now. Let's convert from, okay, now, if you want to convert, really quick, number 2, if you want to convert from meter square back to centimeter square, you just have to do the exact opposite. You see that now? So your value, let's say we want to convert the same value, which is 0.05 back to meter square. We have to multiply our value in meter square by 100 times 100, which is 10,000. You see that now? So this is 10,000. Now, if you multiply this, converting your 0.05, right, meter square back to centimeter square, you take that value, which is 0.05, and you multiply it by 10,000. I believe you know how we got 10,000, right? 10,000. If you do that, you're basically going to get the exact opposite, like this number. But if you don't want to use a calculator, you can't, because when you're multiplying, you're moving your decimals forward. Then when you're dividing, you're moving backward. But since we're multiplying here, we're going to be moving forward. As always here, okay, let me bring it out first here. As always, we have what now? We have 4 zeros here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Moving forward, moving 1. See that now? 2. Alright, so since it is 2, the point is not here, right? Then you move it once again, 3. You created 1 0 here. Once, okay, let me do it here so it won't look rough. Now, you're moving 1, 2, the point is not here. Move 1 again, that is 0 is created here. 1 again, another 0. So that was all good, 500. 500 wood, 500 centimeters square. Now, that is it for that. So let's do the others. Number 3, really quick. Let's see how we can convert from millimeter square really quick to meter square. To convert from millimeter square to meter square, we have to divide the value in millimeter square by 1000 times 1000. And if you do that, 1000 times 1000 is very easy. You don't even need a calculator. Here you have 1 times 1 gives you 1. Now how many zeros do you have left? You have 1 to 3, 1 to 3. That is 6 zeros. And 6 zeros makes a million. So 1000 times 1000 gives you 1 million. Alright. So with that being said, we are going to take whatever value we have in millimeter square and divide it by 1 million. So let's say we want to convert, let me pick a random value, 50, okay, let me use something different, 525,000 millimeter square to meter square. It's very easy. This is because millimeter square is way smaller than meter square. So take this value, 525,000 divided by a million. Alright, so here we have 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Since we divide, I'm going to move our decimals backward. So I don't even need to use a calculator whatsoever. So my decimal is here, my imaginary decimal is here. I move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, so the decimal is now here. You see that now? And that will give me 0.525. As always, you can always confirm with a calculator if you are unsure of your answer. So 525,000 divided by 1 million, that gives me 0.525. Absolutely correct. So that is it. Now, before the fourth one, if you want to convert from meter square back to millimeter square, all you've got to do is to multiply your value in meter square by 1 million, the same 1 million. So that is basically it. So if you do that, multiplying 0.525 by 1 million, will give you the exact number you are coming from. That is 525,000. See that now? That's how it works. Now, number 5. Let's see how we can convert from millimeter square to centimeter square. How do we do that? We have to divide the value. Oh, that's too long now. We have to divide the value in millimeter square by 10 times 10. And 10 times 10 will give you, of course, 100. How do you do that? Look at this 1 year. 1 times 1 gives you 1. Then you have 2 zeros, 1 year, 1 year. So you put both of them together, you get 100. Simple as that. You don't even need to use a calculator whatsoever. Now the next thing you've got to do is this. Now here's it. Suppose you were converting from meter to centimeter. Suppose you were converting from millimeter rather to centimeter. You only have to divide by 10, only one of the tens. But since you're dealing with millimeter square, see that now? You need to double your 10. So that 10 will now give you 10 times 10, which is 100. So always know that that square is a double of whatever number you are having. Now let's say we want to convert any random value like 492 because millimeter square is smaller than centimeter square. 492 millimeter square to meter square. To do that, to centimeter square, beg your pardon. To do that, you have to take this value, which is 492, and divide it by 100. So when you do that, of course, you have 2 zeros here, so it means you're going to move your decimal 2 places backward. So here, the decimal is here, my imaginary decimal is here. Moving backward, I have 1, and I have 2. This will give me 4.92. Always add your unit. 4.92 what? That is 4.92 centimeters square. As always, you can always confirm with the calculator if you're unsure of your answer. Now, number 6. To convert from centimeter square back to millimeter square, you have to do the exact opposite by multiplying your value in centimeter square by 1000, by 100, I beg your pardon. That will give you 492 millimeter square. Now, number 7. How do we convert from meter square to kilometer square? And this will be the last part of it. In that case, since kilometer square is way larger than meter square, we have to divide our value in meter square by 1000 times 1000. So 1000 times 1000, you already know from what I explained initially that 1000 times 1000 gives you a million. I explained how you can get that. So if you didn't remember, you can go back and listen again. Now, you know kilometer square is larger than meter square. So let's say we want to convert 923 meters square to kilometer square. So we're going to take that value, which is in a meter square, which is 923, and divide it by 1 million. So if you do that, you have 6 zeros here as always. Then, since you have 6 zeros, you're going to move 6 places backward. And I guess you know where our imaginary decimal is found, which is here. I'm going to move backward. 1, 2, 3. Once you get here, a point is created. And that point is created here. You're going to move backward. You have 1 0 created. That would move 1, 2, 3, 4 places. 5 another 0. 6 another 0. So your point is finally here. Now here you're going to have 0.00923 kilometers square. Well, as always, if you're unsure of your answer, if you're ambivalent of your answer, You can always confirm that with a calculator, which I'm going to do right now for you. So that is 923 divided by 1 million. That gives me 0.0. Oh, sorry, that's 0.000. So there's a triple zero there. So that is because there's a little corrigendo here. Apologies for that. I'm going to take this again so you comprehend that. Now let's do this again. Look at this. You have your point here. The point moves. We're moving 6 places backward. Don't forget. So 1, 2, 3. The point is now here. So if we move 1, that's with 0 squared, that's 4. 5 is 0 squared, and 6 is 0 squared. Now we're going to have, the point is now here. So we have 0.000. So it means in front of the point, we have 3 zeros behind. And for that reason, a 0 will be created here. In order to put that, a 0 will be created there. So to write that, it will now become 0.000923. So if you were to go forward again, let's say you want to convert from kilometer square back to meter square. You want to go forward. So you know you're multiplying, right? You take 0.000923 and multiply it by 1 million. And you know we are dealing with 6 zeros here. 6 zeros. You're going to move forward. Your point is here, remember. 1, 2, 3. You see that now? 4, 5, 6. The point is not here. You keep moving your point until you get to the front of the first number. That is it. So this now gives me 923. Now you may be wondering, how about the zeros? How about the zeros on the left hand side? You are to discard all of the zeros. See that now? You discard them. You focus on just the real numbers. What are real numbers? Real numbers begins from number 1. Focus on the real numbers. That's what you have here. And your answer becomes 923 meters square. So that is it. That is it for this video. I believe you enjoyed it. And for those of you who are in limbo as to which is bigger than which, let me tell you really quick. Firstly, you have meter square, millimeter rather. Then you have centimeter, which is bigger than millimeter. Then you have meter, which is bigger than centimeter. Then you have kilometer, which is the biggest here. So this is a sequence, so you know that. Alright guys, this video is really long. I didn't intend this video to go beyond 10 minutes, but this is 18 minutes. Alright, no problem. And that is it. So if you enjoyed this video, please share with your friends who may find it helpful as well. And see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.